Moite. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Dr. Ibrahim Kana, says the Presidential Transition Council will make life and governance more comfortable for the incoming president. Kana said this in a statement released by the ministry, and he was speaking at the joint session briefing between officials of the ministry and members of the Transitional Technical Task Team. The Permanent Secretary disclosed that the roadmap had already been drawn for him for a quick start of his administration. He gave assurance that the Presidential Transition Council, inaugurated by the Secretary to the Governments of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, would enable a seamless transition of power from one presidential administration to another. The commencement of the 2023 National Housing and Population Census, earlier slated for March 29th, is likely to be affected by the postponement of the governorship and the state assembly elections. This is according to the chairman of the National Population Commission, Nasiru Kwara, who was speaking at a meeting with resident representatives of the United Nations Population Fund in Abuja.
Because we have our timeline. But I am not in a position to say when until Mr. President himself approves. We're making recommendations to him. Over the years, UNFPA's partnership with MPC and support to Nigeria at large has been invaluable in propelling the vision and mission of the Commission forward in its bid to strive for demographic excellence, a successful and fully digital population and housing census 2023, and in turn, the post-enumeration.
Some state governments are planning to initiate contempt proceedings against the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, and the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, over their refusal to implement the Supreme Court judgment on the Naira redesign policy of the federal government. It was gathered on Friday that the federal government was served with the enrolled order and the certified true copy of last week's Supreme Court judgment, which also ordered that the old notes should be in circulation alongside the new ones. Nigerians across the country are still lamenting the protracted confusion over the status of the old Naira note even after the Supreme Court judgment. Many Nigerians decried the reluctance of business people to accept the notes as legal tender.
The 5,000 after 2 hours in the bank. Nobody is collecting the 5,000 from me. I'm scared. Maybe if I come to the people selling things like in this market, I don't think they will collect.
Better that after the ruling of this court, more naira to be made available.
The new one, we couldn't get it. Let alone having the old one.
Sometimes somebody will buy something 200 naira, will say bring your account number. We not hear the president of Nigeria to tell us that to collect that all the money 500 and 1,000 naira. That is the reason.
I'm so much confused whether to use the old cash or the new one.
I went to market to buy some things. They refused to collect the old money.
You don't see the old naira, you don't see the new one.
I'm not going to collect it for my boss here.
I'm not collecting because if you give customers, they are rejecting it. Even when we are buying something, they say they don't want to collect it.
I would rather collect transfers than collect the old naira.
Meanwhile, Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State has threatened to shut down any business outfit that rejects the old naira notes in the state. The governor was speaking to residents of the state in Benin City. They said that government will clamp down on such business concerns.
Money would have still the user. But here, the full money that legal tender till December this year. That's how Supreme Court talk. So any petrol station when don't take all money from them, let us know, we will close them down. Everybody for markets, all money new money that is saved, not that the user. Is that clear? It's not not too much.
Justice Emeka Wite of the Federal High Court in Abuja on Friday held that only the Independent National Electoral Commission is empowered by law to determine the mode of collating and transmitting election results. In a judgment, Justice Wite stated that only INEC has the prerogative to direct how the polling unit presiding officer should transfer election results, including the total number of accredited persons and the result of the ballot. Justice Wite further held that the collating and transferring of election results manually in 2023 elections cannot be said to be contrary to the relevant provision of the Electoral Act. The People's Democratic Party has called for the resignation of the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, over alleged manipulation of the February 25th presidential election. Speaking during a press conference in Abuja on Friday, the PDP National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, alleged that the election results were mutilated as the Commission deliberately refused to transmit polling unit results as provided by the Electoral Act.
That the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, immediately stepped down from office, having abused the confidence and dashed the hope of millions of Nigerians as well as political parties and the international community for a free, fair, and credible election. The PDP demands that the Inspector General of Police and the Director General of the Directorate of State Services, DSS, immediately commence investigation into the electoral violations and manipulations by INEC.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission has advised the People's Democratic Party to desist from making libelous allegations against the person of its chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakub. The Chief Press Secretary to INEC, Chairman Rotimi Oyekomi, gave the advice on Friday in Abuja while responding to PDP's demand on Yakub to resign from his position. Oyekomi said the latest call by the PDP, just like it did previously for the resignation of Yakub as chairman of INEC, was misplaced. The Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, says 32 patients have been discharged following Thursday's collision of a train and a staff bus in the Ikeja area of the state. Dr. Abayomi, who addressed journalists at a press conference at the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, said a total of 102 casualties were recorded.
"19 passengers from Lasut, but I am also aware that at the other hospitals where we refer patients to who are moderate to mild injuries, many of them are being prepared for discharge this morning. And the information I have right now is that at the toll gate, accident and emergency, they're about to discharge 5, in addition to the 19 that we discharged here. And also at Orile Agege, where we sent 10 passengers, we are about to discharge 8 from.
Also, relations of victims of Thursday's train accidents have hailed the state government over the prompt medical intervention. The relations express gratitude to the government for taking care of the bills and also ensuring timely intervention, which ended up saving lots of lives.
My junior sister is there and he has already died since yesterday. He's working at Lasut here. She was in the bus, coming to work. The children are very small. The eldest one is 22 years. So that's why they said that you should go and call elder somebody to come out. You come with them.
We can see that he's very conscious, and we thank God for that. I sincerely appreciate the Lagos State government and also all the medical staffs and the medical team that supported and that saved the lives of so many Lagosians.
Some Lagosians are still trooping to the hospitals to donate blood for the treatment of the accident victims.
So I drive all these commercial small boats. So I hear the incident on radio, and I hear when our governor said they need more blood to donate. So that's why I decided to do that, if I'm capable to do it. And my governor said, check me, I'm capable. I have any disease. So I give it out.
We are Nigerians, and we have to bring life back to the States. What really happened is terrible, and everybody needs love and care. And if I have blood, why can't I donate? It's free.
And for some foreign stories now, the surprise deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia to restore diplomatic ties offers much for the United States to be intrigued about, including a possible path to rein in Tehran's nuclear program and a chance to cement a ceasefire in Yemen. It also contains an element sure to make officials in Washington deeply uneasy: the role of China as peace broker in a region where the U.S. has long wielded influence. And in sport, former England soccer captain Gary Lineker has been taken off air by the BBC after his comments on Britain's migration policy sparked a furious row between the government and the corporation's hired paid presenter. Lineker was told there has to be an agreed position on his use of social media before he can return, the BBC said on Friday. And that's the Citizen FM News at noon. I'm Lawrence Omoite.